It's a good win. There's a lot of people. It's like Woodstock, except everybody's got their clothes on.
Don't eat a damn snack.
You're like my wife when you get in space. You just get lost.
It's a hat! Short steps are better than long steps. That's the only time in your life you're going to hear short is better than long. It's a hat!
Welcome back, everybody. It's been a minute. I think it's been a little bit over a month. We're heading into week 4 of the 2024 high school football season. Hey, this is 614 Headsets. If you're just joining us, we're 3 high school coaches from the Columbus area. We say football is unconditional love, and we couldn't agree with Tom Brady any more than that. I said it felt like this was the first episode we ever did for how long? How you guys been?
We're living, right? We're getting it. I think it's a tough question to answer right now for all 3 of us.
Different.
But it's a little different.
Figuring it out.
We're figuring it out. We're coaching football, right? We woke up in the morning, the sun was shining. We get another crack at it this week. But, hey, life's good, right? We got the best job in the world, right? We get to develop young men and work directly with our youth. So it is what it is. Your wins and losses come. But I'm excited to be on tonight with the guys. I was super excited this week just knowing that we are coming up on our episode.
That's right. And we're gonna get into it. But if this is your first time joining us, man, we really appreciate if you take a moment, like, subscribe, give us a rating, share it out, keep helping us grow. It's obviously a pretty big downtime for us as we only choose to get on here about 3 to 4 times during the season and focus on being coaches and fathers and teachers and things we got to do. And what do we classify you as, Donovan? Concrete pourer?
Coach.
Yeah. Donnie ain't got much to worry about. Let's just be real.
Hey, please help us out. That helps us. That helps grow Central Ohio football, our game in general, and also our sponsors too. So, Donovan, let everybody know, episode 56, what are we going to get into?
Yeah, we got 2 main topics for tonight. The first, more of like our own little twist on the pick 6, some reflections from what we've seen either from high school football so far, from college, or the NFL season. I think we all pretty much stuck with college or NFL, so excited to get into those kind of hot takes a little bit. And then going into the second topic, which is previewing kind of the second quarter of Columbus and Ohio high school football, talking about some of our favorite games for weeks 4 through 6 coming up here in Columbus and the Columbus area.
I love it. Before we do it, man, let's talk about a favorite sponsor and partner of 614 Headsets, right? Fundraising University Ohio. Fundraising University Ohio offers a variety of fundraising efforts that helps football teams run profitable, effective, and fast-paced fundraisers designed to raise the most money in the shortest amount of time to reach their fundraising goals. Fundraising University Ohio is locally owned, operated, and with their 6-step blitz system will help your team maximize profits. Brent Maxwell with Fundraising University will sit down and help you strategize and execute your fundraiser. And if you're interested in teaming up with Fundraising University Ohio, you can reach out to Brent at the letter B Maxwell at fundraisingtheletteru.net or 740-501-8946. Obviously, if you're a football coach, you're probably not thinking a lot about fundraising now, but if you're somebody who coaches a winter, a spring sport, or maybe plant that seed as a fall football coach too about how to elevate your game into 2025. That's weird.
That's what I was going to say. I honestly, the other day, it's wild, right? How as football coaches are, you just keep working and working. And then I looked, I was like scheduling dates for our fundraising stuff for next year. I'm like, gosh, time just flies by. I'm getting ready to hit up Brant, see what his schedule already looks like. Make sure you guys contact them over at Fundraising University to help you guys out.
It felt weird to say. So we usually do thought of the pod in the beginning, and we thought as we get on and some of us, you haven't heard from us in about a month, just talk about life and talk about what's going on, right? And Ryan, you want to start? You want to tell us about the Northland Vikings?
Yeah, man, we'll kick it off. Thank you. I appreciate that. Put me on the spot with this one for the thought of the pod. Here's the thing, right? We're, as coaches, having the most fun. And I think I told you this on the phone the other day, Stout, when we talked, that it's the most unique situation at Northland High School right now. And we're seeing that, like, wins and losses matter. Like, it depends your weekend, right? It depends what your outlook from the people outside looking in believe and stuff, and what they see and what they say is just wins and losses. But I told you on the phone the other day, like, this group that we are coaching right now is the funnest group we've had yet come through Northland High School, as in they listen, right? They do everything we ask. They have an amazing sense of humor, and they know how to turn it on and off. They know how to lock back in and make sure we practice well. I think we are young in some spots, right? And experience-wise, we lost some of our killers from last year, right? Like, we lost some really good guys. You lose a running back like Amir Brown, right? You lose a Charles Woodfirk, a Brian Neal Jones up front. You lose a Zion Moffitt that returns all your kickoffs and kick returns. You just have so many guys that I could go through the raft, like Jasir in the middle, and then the number one guy, Kevin Bell, right? Like our center and our linebacker that lined us up. So we, at the beginning of the season, I feel like we were going through so much change and transition because those kids were with me since my first day, and they've started with me since my first day, right? Like they were starting as freshmen and sophomores all the way through. And so now I got guys that are just great, genuine kids. They work their asses off, and we have a blast out there. They fly around. They do everything we ask. They have great energy. We just have to find our MO, I feel like, right? Like we have to find what works great for this group of kids. And I think we're starting to hit that. Like we had a beautiful game against Whitehall. Our offense started clicking. And then our defense has played really well, man. Besides the first half of last week, we were down 20-0 in the first half of last week. And then we rallied back to 8 minutes left on the clock, and it's 20-14, and we got the ball. But we just couldn't capitalize on some things. But that's just us being inexperienced and young. And I know you guys know about that. But that's where coaches in high school, I love it. I say it's such a unique game because every year is so different, dude. Every year to year changes so much, and you have to change and adapt as a coach every single year to the kids that you have, the leaders that you have, because you have different type of leaders every single year. It's just unique. But I say we're 1-2. How well can we be? When someone asks me like, "Hey, how you doing, coach?" Like walking through the halls, it's like, yeah, we're 1-2. I don't know how well can I be. We got to win some football games. See, that's what people care about, right? That's what people care about. But for us as a coaching staff and the coach's office, like we love this group we have, and they've worked so hard, and we know we're going to turn around. We get into conference play this week, and we're excited about that. Our kids are excited about that because that's one of our goals up on our goal board, and all the goals are still accomplishable, right? Like every goal that we have on our goal board, we can still accomplish by week 10.
Obtainable, accomplish.
Yeah, either one, obtainable. But either way, I teach special ed math, right? I ain't talking the right English out here, but brother, you teach history, okay, and not even a tested subject, but we can still accomplish every single goal that's up on the board, and that's what we're stressing to our kids, and to keep putting our heads down and win this conference and be the first team to ever go back to back in school history. And we got a lot of things up on our goal board that we still want to accomplish and we still want to obtain. But
yes, sir,
and they're obtainable. But
yes, sir.
I'll stop rambling. I could go on forever about how much I love this group of kids that I have, but life's good. We're having a freaking blast at Northland High School coaching this group. We just got to figure out and get some wins on this board.
You do. Hey, at least you're not Florida State out there at 0-2 and coaches are running around squirt guns. Wow, at least you got a win on there. Diamond, why don't you go ahead, Mr. Ray of Sunshine, more than me, and go ahead and let's get you going. Go ahead and give your reflection.
Yeah, so like for the longtime listeners know, Coach Stout and I both coach at Gahanna together. Coach Stout's my boss, abusive boss. And for those of you that don't, now you do. So we both see things day in and day out at practice, different perspectives. And I think they would always joke, at least some coaches would, like, this is my third year coaching. My first 2 years, what did you always say, Stout? What spoiled? Yeah, spoiled. My first 2 years of coaching was on teams that were 25-3 and 2 championships and I guess 3 championships.
3.
And the perspective shift of understanding as a young coach that when things aren't going perfectly, like the world isn't falling just because I haven't experienced that yet. And so to try as an individual coach to have this as a learning moment where we're at right now and trying to push through, I think is big. And then just with this team trying to figure out different ways that I can bring past experiences as a coach from being at Gahanna, from having Coach Ward and a lot of these other coaches as my coaches as a junior and senior and going through times of highs and lows in college. I think that's what's been like uniquely challenging, but also fun in a way of like, all right, let's put all the chips on the table and let's figure out the best way to reach X or attain Y. And so I think that's been a unique process, not necessarily as enjoyable sometimes as previous moments in a couple of years, but I think it's a level of coaching that I don't think most people understand. And I probably didn't understand past 2 years. Past 2.5 years. I probably didn't understand it until getting to moments like this. I'm sure you guys had similar experiences when you first started coaching as those early years and maybe had success and then there's road bumps and then you figured it out along the way.
Yes, Donnie, we've all experienced that. When I first took over Northland, there was mountains, not road bumps. And it was a lot, but I feel your pain. It's a wild thing to navigate in your first year. And I was thinking about that the other day, Donnie. I was thinking about you the other day. I was like, sometimes people make it feel so much bigger and heavier than it's a loss, right? Like you lost the football game in your first year when you start losing. It's, yo, what am I supposed to do now? You're like, what do we do? We lost. What do we do now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been different. I won't spend a ton of time on it because Donovan's talked about it, but it's just been very different. You talk about how different a year can be, and you said you lost a lot of production, a lot of upperclassmen, a lot of experience, and we have too. And so we've had that. We've had some injuries and things. It's a fun group to coach, but we're still trying to find a way to push that button and get them to flip the switch a little bit to be at the level at what we're playing. And the big thing is, like Donovan's group is lost 3 linemen. So we're heading into week 4 and it's a totally different line every week. And so we're working at trying to now match things to that. It's different. 23, I think we were like finished a regular season, at least by somebody's records or something, like number 1 in the state in point differential. And then to be where we're at now, it's wow. And so it's like a fall from grace almost. And then you start questioning yourself and questioning a lot of things. And so we just really worked hard over the weekend to boil some things in and talk about what we need to do without saying a whole lot. Still love being around our kids. It's a challenge. It's still early. And like we said the same thing to our kids, as Ryan would say, many of our goals are still accomplishable.
Thank you, Stout.
So we can't wait to keep chopping and keep going after it. And we're going to Charlie Mike this thing, man. We're going to continue the mission and we're going to find a way and we're going to grit these things out. It's a different time as we're getting on the podcast here together than the last couple of years. But one thing I am excited about, baby boy Hudson, he turns 1 year old this weekend. And so I'm going to celebrate my son. We're having a little my first tailgate.
I love that. Was my guy. Did he get to watch the Browns get shellacked?
So
that was the saddest day of my life right there.
Yeah, thankfully it's going to be on Saturday, so he doesn't have to suffer a Browns loss.
Here's what happens at my class on a Monday, right? If 2 out of 3 lose, it's test Monday. My guys are new. I got freshmen this year that don't understand that, and I popped the test on them this past Monday, and they didn't understand. But if the Buckeyes, the Browns, or Northland Vikings, if we lose 2 out of 3 of those games in the weekend, you get a pop quiz on Monday.
I love it. I tell you what, I came back in the classroom after our week 2 loss, and kids were putting like Groveport Madison as their quiz's name and stuff. I'm like, you all are really pushing the bear right now. Like you're pushing it. So let's get into it though. Let's get into this pick 6 segment, which we're going to talk about some reflections. Let's do it.
The best.
Get it going, Ryan. Let's go.
The best segment, right? My favorite one. The Pick 6 segment is powered by Story Rivals. Sports, media, championships, friendships, and life lessons are among the most meaningful parts of athletic competition. They are passionate about preserving them by offering the most unique highlight experience available.
That's right. And Story Rivals delivers your team's content with services designed to change the way you experience these unforgettable moments now and for a lifetime. Storied Rivals now offers a complete team apparel and player shop customizable to your program. Contact them by email at info@storiedraivals.com to schedule an appointment with a member of their team. And you know what? You probably aren't scheduling them now for your content stuff, but they're a great person to keep in mind as you start thinking about conference championship t-shirts, playoffs. You might even think about, hey, we haven't set up a team store yet to sell to the community or sell to your teachers and things. So fantastic quality stuff. We used them this year. It was great. Everybody loves the quality and the design of what we got. Don't forget storied rivals when you think about apparel too. So a little bit different this time, right? We usually are asking somebody else questions. We thought we'd just make this, hey, we've seen a couple weeks of football at every level. Let's have a little reflections. What you got, Ryan?
Man, I went to the Buckeye game this past Saturday. One thing that I love about them is their offense right now. And you can shake your head as much as you want. Sitting
You know
in
how
those
Donovan
stands,
is.
I don't care what Donovan thinks. Watching the RPOs that Chip Kelly runs is so nasty when you're watching them live and how great they were hitting. Donnie, you honestly need to get over your feelings and understand Ohio State is one of the best teams that you're ever going to witness ever again.
What Ryan Day has done to this program would be studied in Stout's history class, the worst war crimes ever imaginable.
Why?
There's not enough decades to undo the damage that he has done to this program.
What has he done? Explain it. I'm wondering.
So why time out? Unpack that. Let's not spend forever on this. Why do you feel that way right now at this moment?
Just answer that.
I'm going to raise you a question, and I want you to answer truthfully. Since Ryan Day has been there, who has been the best team that he's had? So he got there in 2019. That was they lost in that close game to Clemson, that Orange Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, all the way up to 2024. You can say 2024 if you want, but I feel like you probably can't include it yet because we don't really know. So between really
they're going to win the national championship this year.
Maybe. I hope so. I think they definitely could. But between 2019 to 2023, who has been his best team, and who do you think? And I'll throw this in: best team, worst team. Best team, worst team.
I would say last year. I think last year was our worst team.
Okay. Best team. So best team, like I lean toward 2019 with like Kuda, Chase Young.
Yeah,
like
I'll just
Fields.
say 2019, 2020 year.
Yeah. Stout, would you agree with that?
I would. I also think the year that they pretty much had a great chance, like they almost beat Georgia, man, in that one year. That team was pretty good. You look at, they probably look at that game as, wow, like one or two plays, Marvin Harrison doesn't get, that's the game Marvin Harrison got knocked out of the game.
Yeah.
Horrible.
That team was pretty good too, man. If I'm being honest.
Team was solid. They were fun.
My overarching point is we're all in agreement. Last year was their worst team by far. Like how they resulted, probably talent-wise overall, just from offensive standpoint, quarterback standpoint.
Absolute schnauzer at quarterback.
I think 2019 was probably their most talented year. The reason I bring that up is because in 2019,
that's
everybody on that team except for Justin Fields was an Urban Meyer recruit. 2023 was the first year. I'm sure there's some guys left over, but 2023 was the first time that it was a completely Ryan Day recruited team. And look at them. Like I look at that and I look at the offensive line. I don't care that they're missing their first round pick guard like that. Their offensive line is terrible. What has gone in that Ohio State program from what it was in 2018, 2017, 2019, what it is now is like it's disgraceful. So like what that strength program has become to where guys are getting hurt left and right. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors in their weight room, but to have guys that are just missing randomly week by week, past several years, Henderson all the time, Jackson for no reason, the linebacker. I'm telling you, what has been done to this program, I hope they win a national championship. And if you had a gun to my head right now, I think they would.
Or are we starting to see the long-term effects of portal, NIL, everything, where now a lot more teams are a lot more even? That's my thing. Listen, there's times I'm not super excited about where Ohio State's been, but honestly, I just think what you're starting to see, and look at Alabama towards like last year and stuff. Like, I think you're starting to see that it's no longer going to be a game of 3-4 teams or the elite and nobody's going to be near them. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are closer.
I think that's what it is right now. I think Georgia, Ohio State, Texas are the three clear and above best teams in the country. Who's number 4 right now?
But here's the thing, like all that involved, Ryan Day has done as good as a job as anybody else has besides Urban Meyer.
No, he's like 2-9.
In this era of college football,
he's 2-9. He's 2-9 versus top 10 college ball playoff teams. Top 10 college ball ranked playoff teams. 2-9 in his tenure.
That's sad.
That's a
2-9.
good fact. But his
It's
regular
not
record's
good
great
stuff,
in his conference. Anybody else?
He's
Anybody else
won
with that
one
record's fine.
He's won one Big Ten championship in 5 years. One. Sorry, 2. It was his first years with an Urban Meyer team. He hasn't won a Big Ten championship in 4 years. He hasn't beaten the playoff team.
Can we
Do
get
you
back
not
to
think-
Ryan's point, though? And I do agree, though,
Yes.
that I am more excited about the offense, specifically the run game, that has been lacking
that's a
this
huge
year.
part of his success going to be coming forward is
Yeah.
not calling that offense and not being involved, or he's involved, but not calling it directly and letting Chip Kelly roll. It just seemed like our offense has a lot more rolling and clicking, and it looks amazing. Seeing Jeremiah Smith play in person when we were like 8 rows up, that dude's a freak.
We look better.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think right now, like, I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about the offense because I see a lot of scheme, and you can see what they're doing and the execution of it. So, I to piggyback on Ryan, I think I am excited about Chip Kelly being there and the future, and just being able to watch it unfold. Especially think about it, like, they're still trying to learn his stuff. All those guys are still learning how to play together. Like, it's going to be fun as they get rolling. Donovan, go ahead, man. Let's continue your grumpy spree as I'm reading what you're going to talk about.
So I remember last season, I think it was later than this now, but like all the stuff about Caleb, like everybody knew Caleb Williams was going to be the first overall pick. And everybody was talking about like some off the field stuff and painting his nails, like how he talked with teammates, like just random like personality issues when it came to the draft for a guy that was probably going to be the first overall pick. And I feel like that was picked up way more like at this point, not necessarily the same week, but like this stage of like when it was being talked about, picked up way more from like the ESPNs or like the Bleacher Reports of the world. And now we have a quarterback in Shadur Sanders who might be the best in the nation. Like he's probably just as talented as Caleb Williams, who's like throwing his own teammate under the bus. He's talking about the O-line, who's leaving games 2 minutes or 2 minutes when there's still time in the game when you're losing. I've never seen that in college football. I've never seen like your star quarterback leave a game with 2 or 3 minutes left on the clock. So I'm wondering, is this just part of like what we should expect now with NIL? Or is this just like a blip? Is it like, no, like this is just like the personality he has. This is the prime personality. You know what I mean?
I gotta be honest. I've been bunkered down. I saw it happen, but has there been any remarks, or has he talked to the media about it? Like, how did he answer it?
He didn't answer it about that. But after that game, they asked him a question about trying to get the run game going or something. And all he said was like, he goes, how many times did Raiola get hit, the Nebraska quarterback? And he kept saying, he didn't get sacked. He goes, I got sacked X amount of times, whatever. And then some freshman had a thing. He threw a bad ball, but it was supposed to be a bad route. And then he blamed the freshman. He's like, it's a rookie mistake. He has no idea what he's doing. Like he's just throwing teammates under the bus. What's the thing of the fight song? Sayers, you wrote it on there, right?
Let's go. So let's stick here.
Yeah,
Since we're on the topic, let's just stay on the topic. There's no point bouncing around. But this was one of Ryan's things he had down for one of his reflections too, Ryan. What were you going to say about the Coach Prime stuff?
As I've been sitting here looking down, I've been writing notes about this whole situation. Okay. Number one thing that stands out to me, I have 3 stars by. The fact that I was so wrong that it is disrespectful to my family and my friends and my people on this podcast.
You're ready to go back and take it back.
I'm being a man right now, okay? And what a man does is he admits his wrongs, and he just takes it off the chin. I was wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying right now?
I don't know if I would have said take it off the chin.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Take it 100%. Look,
I got it.
Doubling down.
when I read the report and it was confirmed that Deion Sanders said the band can no longer play the fight song after his son scores a touchdown, they need to play his son's rap song after he scores, made me completely off the Prime wagon. I will still wear his sunglasses. I love them. They look great. But I am no longer supporting the fact that he's going to make a bowl game.
They might not.
I am I'm no longer supporting the fact that I said he was going to make the playoffs. I am no longer supporting the fact that I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. I think that he is all for show and all for the lights, camera, action stuff. The fact that you are letting your son walk off the field with 2, that's one of my other points, Donnie. You brought it up. You walk off the field with 2 minutes left and see if you never, ever step back on that field for me ever again. I don't care if you're my son, my freaking best quarterback, whoever it is. You are not walking off the field and handling the loss like a grown man and just taking it off the chin and we're shaking hands after the game. If you are what I was hot at that. Then, not only that, you then do that and then you go take your little butt into the stupid press conference and you slam all your players. Like you did nothing wrong. How many times does he have good protection and he can stand in and throw the ball, but he chooses to roll out and go somewhere else and get hit? That is not all on your O-line. And I know you O-line too. You two O-line guys know. Not every sack is on the offensive line. When you have a quarterback like that, you're going to get hit. You're going to get tackled. You're scrambling. You're running out. You're doing a ton of stuff. So for me, I'm done with the Colorado. I'm going to watch more games just to see what it looks like. But it's going to take a lot for them to get me back on the wagon.
So here's what I think is super interesting that I'm excited to see long-term how things play out. And I guess this is getting into what my first point was going to be. So I'll double this up. And one thing, some of these teams are just a lot of mercenaries, man. If you think about it, they paid and brought a whole new offensive line in. You watch North Dakota State come in and play them super close. Maybe they're probably looking at, hey, 3-4 plays, we win this game. It's interesting to see teams that recruit and build programs versus teams that buy people. Now, Ohio State's bought people too, talking about the most expensive roster and this and that. So these are different times, but those are dangerous remarks to be saying and chirping out week 2, right? Of a college season by your O-line. Man, it's a long season. Those guys aren't going to want to really fight for you that much more.
I was just about to say, like, bro, you played college football at Penn State. You played Ashland, right? Donnie, you played Division I football at the MAC level. Your quarterback goes into a press conference talking like that. What's the next game look like for you guys?
The game probably goes fine. That's when the quarterback shows up to have a few brewskis at the football house or with the guys that some words are finally said. And I've been in one of those situations before a little bit. I guarantee it's like we'll keep it PG on here. What are you doing here? And I bet some choice words were definitely said, but hopefully they get turned around. But for me, I'm excited about it. Last week, there was a ton of close games. Underdog wins, right? Northern Illinois beats Notre Dame. St. Francis beats Kent State. Idaho beats Wyoming. Boise with a really close loss to Oregon.
Freeman got to go back to Ohio State.
Every year, this is what I'm excited about. Every year, there's a team that comes out of the darkness and gets hot, right? There's that team that's outside of the top 4, like Liberties, your old school UCFs, you can name a few every year, right? Kansas gets really hot one year. I'm super excited for this 12-game playoff, guys. I'm so excited to watch those 1 or 2 really hot teams get into the playoff and maybe do something, right? I can't wait to watch it happen.
Here's the interesting thing, though. It's like, how are they going to determine who gets in and all this stuff? Because, look, everybody wanted to clear it up with this playoff saying, hey, we have this amount of guys going, and it'll be fair now, all that. Guess what? The third, what is it, 16-team playoff or whatever? 12, whatever. If they do that, whoever number 13 is and 14 is, they're complaining that they didn't get in, and it's going to be the same thing.
It's always going to be a problem, but it's better, man.
No, I'm excited for it.
Love it.
I just don't want to hear people complaining again after this and being like, oh, we need more teams. We're going to be to a literal 32-team playoff here sooner.
Probably at some point you might get to that, but who knows the future of what's even going to happen. You might see the talk is these FCS schools might split away and not even be together in that. So I think things are going to constantly keep changing, but I'm just excited to see some teams get a shot. Who knows what happens some of these years, some of those teams who had a loss and don't get in. You just never know, man. I'm excited for it. We've fallen off the Coach Prime, right? You know what? Let's combine.
I have one more, though.
You added another one. Okay.
Yes, it's Donnie stole mine. What's the biggest upset in Ohio high school football so far this year?
Biggest upset in Ohio high school football. I don't. You clearly have an answer.
Give me
start as we are.
No, I'm just wondering. Do we talked about this on our last podcast episode? Is it the Pick Central Harvest Prep game?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
we talked about it, so I wanted to recap and run it back. Go back to what we talked about.
Sure, I think like when you think comparison, it's very early to say. Who knows? Yeah, I think so. Definitely. It was very interesting. I think a lot of people in the coaching circle actually thought Harvest Prep had a great chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a lot of people who were so shocked by it, but didn't realize like how good Harvest Prep is and how Pickering Central has changed in the last few years a little bit. They're definitely still a good program, but they're not the program that has won the multiple state championships, right? They're just not there as they were. That's high school football.
Okay. One of my notes, I have to say this. This is, I think in my eyes, it got to be one of the biggest upsets in Ohio high school football this year because of the fact that Harvest Prep, one of my coaches went to the game. They had only 27 kids on the sideline dressed
really
in football game.
Wow.
Can you think about that? Somebody comes out to play you guys. You're as big as you guys are. 27 kids dressed on their sideline. That's it.
That's
so
crazy.
Then when there's 11 out on the field, give me it, Stout. 27 minus 11. Come on, baby.
16.
Thank you, Stout. That's 16 kids on the other sideline, which is, think about looking across and seeing 16 kids.
That's crazy.
And your sideline is just loaded.
It's an awesome win, man. And I think
it's a huge win. I just think their coaches are like, I don't know. I was just talking about it because I wanted to wrap back around. I listened to our podcast the other day from the first one just to think about what we said before. And that was a big topic we talked about. And it's just, to me, what you said, football coaches understand that's not that big of an upset because Harvest Prep is a really good football team with really good athletes with really good coaching. And we know that. But when you're somebody that's up in the stands every Friday night just on Twitter updating games and you don't really know anything about football and you're thinking, okay, that's a huge upset. No, it's not. It's really not. But we know that, not everybody else.
Yeah. Last point here before we get into these top games in this quarter two. Donovan and I both look like we talked about it. Revisiting an old topic. That's what's cool. We revisited this old topic of Coach Prime, and Coach Sayers took it on the chin, as he says. And I'm going to go on and I'm going to say, man, Deshaun Watson and the Browns, like at what point do we say this was a terrible move, right? And look back and say, is this one of the worst mistakes in Browns management history of recent time? Like,
did you see my tweet?
It's probably one of the worst things in NFL history.
Bro, on my post on Twitter, I said, this is going to go down as the number one theft ever to happen in the NFL. And Deshaun Watson needs to go to prison for life.
I'm just disappointed because
did you read his last one that just happened this week that got filed on him?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen anything.
Wasn't great.
Wasn't great.
Dude's great.
Flipping over with his stuff hanging out, just grabbing girls, getting it, whatever he wants to do to him, and that now he got reported for another one. What I'm hoping is there's something in the contract. If Browns were smart enough to put something in there, if you get accused or get found guilty of a new one, your contract is null and void.
I've never seen a disparity between what somebody was paid and how they play. I'm just like, and I've said it on here all along. I've said it was the worst choice, the worst decision. I would never done that. It's going to put us back. The guy there's backups on teams that are better than him, that could come in and run Stefanski's system and do better than him. And it's at what point do you say, I think we're being naive or stupid, arrogant. I don't know what it is. Who cares anymore what the money costs? Like, you look at what Denver did. They knew Russell Wilson wasn't their guy. See ya. Right?
So there's something about that. I don't know how it all works, but like how Denver just ate it, like cap wise. There's someone was saying, like in the NFL, they're like, this is not a Denver situation. They're like, whether or not he starts, Deshaun Watson will be on the Cleveland Browns next season. Like, it's something with his contract. There's not. It's not the same thing as Russell Wilson.
I know, but I just was saying, like, they had the fortitude to make a decision to be like, he's not our guy. We got to move right now, and we got to start moving towards the future. Like, why can we keep giving the resources, time, snaps, everything to this guy? The body's there that he's not going to be the guy.
And then we restructure his contract again, and then we're taking the biggest cap hit next year and the year after. And it's, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think we're going to absolutely. I don't want to spend more time on it because it's just terrible, and we all know it's terrible. But
I love it.
I really hope the Browns at some point just call a spade and say, Bubs, you're not getting it done. You're terrible. You don't fit our system. You don't play well.
I would rather start Jameis Winston, and I will lose with that energy.
You want to hear what
you already know.
It's not a hot take. I don't think it would happen, but wouldn't it be so Cleveland Browns to keep Deshaun as a starter for, I don't know, like 3 more games and to still suck, then to bench and bring it back and suck again. And like you're sitting at like week 9 or 10 and like you're like 3-6, and instead of benching him permanently, wouldn't it be so Browns to fire Kevin Stefanski instead and be like, he was the problem, gone, goodbye? Like that just feels like that's the Cleveland Browns.
I can see that happening. I hope it doesn't happen, but
no, he's a good coach.
Don't say that.
That just feels like Browns. And by the way, that's what I hope happens.
I think what really needs to happen.
Movie? Hey, you don't say that. Do not say that.
I still don't watching the Browns suffer. I'm sorry.
So here's my
not
thing.
a personal thing.
Here's my thing. I want to know: did Stefanski really want Watson, or was it more a office decision?
There's no way people want it.
Because here's my thing: he does not fit the style of play that Stefanski likes. And that's my only thing. And maybe also, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I've always just felt like watching his system, they are trying to mold things around Watson versus have the quarterback that Stefanski likes to run his scheme. If that makes sense.
Re-sign Kareem Hunt, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are we doing?
I agree. Let's get into it. Let's get in these big games here. Here we go.
All right, the next main topic, the second quarter previewing weeks 4 through 6, is powered by First Down Playbook. First Down Playbook is the nation's leading playbook and play design software. With over 35,000 professionally drawn editable team plays with notes and full playbooks to start from, you'll be on your way to getting an edge over the competition. First Down Playbook could be your entire team management system with practice schedules, scripts, custom quarterbacks, wristbands, and more. If you use the code HEADSETS24 mentioned on our show, you'll get $100 off. The already most affordable option in today's game. The link is provided in our show notes. And I think, unlike some of our other sponsors, it's not really too late to get this. If you feel like you're having some issues schematic-wise, pick this thing up. It's the most affordable option if you have that opportunity to.
Ryan's using it.
Dude, it's
we've got our.
It's helped our kids so much, like to be able to have something that is right there for you. And we're able to push so much stuff to them, make sure that they're seeing our new updates. We're creating new folders every week for different game plans. It's just great. It's awesome. It's been amazing.
They just came out with their new scouting report system, and we just had one of their guys on our sideline for the game 2 weeks ago. So it was cool to touch base with them and get to learn a little bit more about the company. They're actually a super small company. There's only a couple people in it. And it was interesting to learn a little bit more about the ins and outs of the company too. So it's cool to have them there and learn a little bit more about a partner. So fantastic.
Stop trying to get another job on us.
I doubt it, man. I doubt it. No, I wasn't, man. I just connections, man. People helping people. We're going to go weeks 4, 5, and 6. I think Ryan has week 4. He's going to share his favorite games, and maybe we'll touch base on them. I have week 5, and Diamond has week 6. What do you got, Ryan, for the top games around the 614 week 4?
All right, let's run it. I'm gonna keep it at home for me, right? We're in the City League. This is a huge game, I think, for the City South. It's probably the biggest game, I think, in the City South to date, besides Week 10 that's going to happen. But I'll probably mention that one in Week 10 if everything works out the same way. But I think Afrocentric versus Walnut Ridge, right? Afros look pretty good. They've played some freaking tough opponents, right, to start off the year. Walnut Ridge has obviously rallied to be able to be 3-0 with beating us, beating Beechcroft, beating Lyndon McKinley, right? Playing all north side teams and dominating, right? And they've done it in dominant fashion. And our score was the closest game they've had. And it was by 2 points, and they've gotten better and better each week. So I expect that to be a huge game. Coach Davis does an amazing job at Afro. I think he has a great squad this year to go ahead and make a run at the City South, and Ridge has a very good argument to make a run at it too. So to open up City South play with that game, it's going to be an interesting one this week. I'm excited to see who comes out on top. Next is, man, Pick North has been playing just a straight meat grinder of a schedule, dude. Every week they've had a game. And this upcoming week is a huge week, I think, for them as well. It's the Pick North Coffman game. I think that'll be a huge week for them to show that, are they as dominant as they think? Are they better than Coffman? Coffman has Stokes. I think having that juice over there, let alone, puts you right into any ball game that you have.
They're battle tested too. You saw that like early on, lost some, but got stronger, made it to regional final. Like, you're seeing some teams decide that, hey, playing really tough schedules will pay off in the end. And so you can't even look at records sometimes early on with some of these teams.
No, you can't. There's that game. And then the next one that I just think is interesting just for me as a person and as a coach and as a friend of these two guys, of you guys, and then of Wes, really, talking to Coach Schroeder all the time. And he's done just an amazing job over there already, starting out 3-0 right at Orange. And rolling and doing a phenomenal job over there. He calls a great offense. He has a great system, has a great scheme. When we were at he was at Granville, he was running the same system, and it works, man. And he does a great job of calling his plays and then rallying the staff together that loves the kids and coaches their butts off. And their defense is really good as well. And he has a great DC that left from Granville that went with him to Orange. So he's just done a great job over there. And then you guys, let's get back on track, right? Like, it's time for you guys to find out who you are and find out what you're made of and get rolling again this week. And I know you guys have been working your butt off to have some new things out there and do some different things to make sure that you guys are successful. And I'm excited to see what happens with you guys.
Yeah, it's a good game on paper. It's a big week. It's homecoming. We're back home, and hopefully our kids are ready to go and have a lot to play for, and basically got fight for our lives, get back to even and right some things, get back to playing how we should be and playing up to our potential on all sides of the ball. So those are really good games, man. I have week 5. Week 5, I have Olentangy Berlin at Olentangy Orange. Anytime you can put two really good Olentangy teams together that are well coached, you're going to have a great game. Olentangy Berlin's playing really well. So is Olentangy Orange.
I love Berlin's jerseys.
You say it all the time. I know. They are sweet.
I love them.
They are sweet. He needs to come out with a white helmet, though, to come with with baby blues. Go a white helmet on those. That'd be sweet.
I think black would be fire with the baby
black
blue.
too, or a chrome. Yes. A lot of good combos go with that baby blue, man. So that's going to be a great game. This is another big one. Westerville South versus Big Walnut. Westerville South has gotten off to a great start. Eric Callen, coworker of mine, friend of mine, head coach now of Westerville South, the former alumni there. But the Westerville South Big Walnut game has always been a big game. And when you look at that conference, the last couple of years, it's pretty much come down to Westerville South and Big Walnut and Canal too. Canal's in that same conference, aren't they?
Yeah,
used to be, right? I don't know if it's
to be. Now they're not.
Yeah, now they're not. So really, it's going to come down to those two. And
I had an impressive one though last week too, man. They knocking off, going and hitting Groveport Madison.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a really big game. It would be a good one to go to. And then honestly, I'll go ahead and this is one of my favorite games in the next 3 weeks. You've got Brad Birchfield and the Bishop Hartley going up against Ironton. This game is the absolute watch. And if I was somebody that necessarily wasn't going to a game and I wanted to go watch a high school game, this one would be an absolute banger to go to. When you talk about programs and championship level play and athletes and two great coaches, this is the most intriguing game for me, I think, in the next 3 weeks. And those are my top games for week 5.
I love it. All right, I got week 6.
I like that Hartley one too, Ironton Hartley. That's going to be a banger.
That sounds like a classic. All right, I got week 6. The first one I'm going to go with is DeSales versus St. Charles. DeSales, who lost week 1 in a 1-score game at Olentangy Berlin, one of the better, if not top teams in Columbus.
Which they say is a hard place to play. I've never played there, but people say it's a hard place to play.
Yeah.
Where?
Versus Olentangy Berlin.
That's a hard place to play?
That's what
the
rumor is. DeSales playing St. Charles, who's outscored their opponents 87-28 in the first 3 games. So St. Charles obviously on a run. I know they got a really good quarterback over there.
They got a new coach. I guess he's rolling. I heard he's really good. That's what I heard.
Yep. I got 2 more. I'll talk about the second one quickly because we've talked about Olentangy Orange so much, but an Orange team that's averaging 46 points per game playing Hilliard-Davidson, who to Columbus teams only they've given up an average of 2 touchdowns per game. So excited to see that offensive defense face off or hear about it, I guess. We won't see it. And then the last one is Bishop Watterson, 3-0, who's outscored their opponents 107-6 in the first 3 games.
Demolished Westwell North last week.
Yeah. Taking on Bishop Hartley in week 6. That one might be the top game of the week, if you ask me. If I had to pick right now, that might be the top game of the week.
That's a close. I think it's good too.
You're missing one for week 6. East versus Northland's a huge one in the city north.
There you go.
That's the big one. That'll be a big one in the city north.
Lot for the
but that's all right. Donnie doesn't show no love to City Pro. I don't think he's talked about one city program before on here, but it's cool.
He ain't about that.
It's wild.
Let him know he ain't about that. So
dude's a straight suburb cat, lives in Blacklick.
It's come that time. I just want to appreciate everybody and say thank you for checking us out, listening. Let us know what some of your favorite games are. Or, hey, you get a chance, you've listened to the episode, shout us out. What has been some of your best reflections from the first couple of weeks? Maybe it's high school, college, NFL. All you coaches that are listening to us, man, we just hope that you're having a great season. Stay healthy. Keep finding a way to motivate your kids and reach out to us, man. Let's keep doing this thing. Let's keep supporting Central Ohio football. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you download and share everything. Make sure you check out our sponsors, right? Fundraising University, Storied Rivals, First Down Playbook. All 3 great sponsors in the realm of what we're doing here as coaches and mentors that could make your team and your program and your community better. So we just want to appreciate everybody, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks when we get to quarter 3. Peace.